Hi there, we're going to be doing some pick'ems today, and we're going to stick with VLR for now, just because it's easier to visualize each matchup. If the in-game client ever changes the way they do things, then we'll start using that. It is kind of weird that we can only pick the order of groups. Hopefully we'll be able to pick each matchups during the playoffs of Champs 2024. But with that out the way, let's start off with Group A. And unfortunately for Billy, they do not have NRG the Bully in this Champs tournament. And they're going against a really red hot Fnatic team that are currently on like an 8-game win streak. They just look revitalized with Hero. So it's unfortunate for Billy, but Fnatic's going to take this for sure. Next, we have DRX versus Crew, which is going to be interesting. Remember, DRX always makes it out of groups, just like how Crew always makes it to Champions. Well, so far anyways. And for this, I can see a world where Billy beats another America's team. I mean, they've made a lot of changes to their coaching staff, just like how Crew has done a complete 180 after their roster changes. But at the end of the day, it's in Kesnet we trust. Plus, the addition of Heat is great, and bringing back Mesler is just a smart way to go about things, in my opinion. Next, we have Fnatic versus DRX. This is going to be interesting for a number of reasons. If we do get this matchup, we can use it as like a litmus test to see if DRX's like roster overhaul was actually beneficial for the long-term success of this organization. Because I remember last year Fnatic played DRX, and DRX had one good map against Fnatic, which was on Bind, and then Fnatic was like, yeah, hold this reverse sweep real quick. But that clinic that DRX was able to do on Fnatic just like was amazing. Coming into this event, Fnatic was like the best team last year. And then DRX was like, yeah, they can bleed. So it would be interesting to see how DRX puts up a fight, especially since only 2 of their members remain in Buzz and Mako. Zest is gone, RB is gone, Stax is gone. This is a completely different team. And if we do get this matchup, we'll see how things turn out. I personally just believe that Fnatic is red hot. The only thing that they're missing right now is a Champs trophy, and I think they're really hungry for it. I also wonder what they're going to do with Leo, you know? They're committed to Leo. They extended his contract to 2025, but Hero has just been a great addition for them. And lastly, for this matchup, the question will be, can home crowd advantage do the trick? And I believe so. I think DRX playing in Korea can get the job done and make it to playoffs. And now we have the Group of Death's Group of Death, the most fearsome collection of teams ever assembled. And to be honest with you guys, this group is going to be so hard and difficult to call, and a lot of the games should be close. I really feel like it's going to come down to which teams get the maps that they really want. And from day one, we get the Masters Madrid rematch. I did a video titled The Victims of Sentinels, and I mentioned in that video that they had a great track record against Pacific teams, 8-1, I believe. However, one of those losses was by Gen G, right? So maybe Gen G can do it again. As far as we know, between these teams, the record is 1-1, and this will be the tiebreaker. I think Sentinels have been hiding some strats to surprise people and teams, especially Gen G. So I'm going to go with Sentinels because of this feeling that I have. And plus, this won't be their first Group of Death. In fact, Sentinels whole year, they've been doing it the hard way. There's no easy routes to victory for them. Just like how Gen G did in the beginning of kickoffs too. But I would like to say that Sentinels Stage 2 was a lot harder than Gen G's Stage 2. Next, we have FPX versus Heretics. FPX low-key might be the best Chinese team here. Yes, they lost to EDG, but they usually perform better than them on the international stage. At least they have been for both Masters Shanghai and Masters Madrid. And during this year, they've taken both Gen G and Heretics to 3 games and close maps against Loud and KC in Madrid. And I know a lot of people are going to have Heretics winning, and I do as well. But this game has major upset potentials. Because remember, all it took against their original matchup against Heretics was legitimately 1 round. 1 round could have changed everything for Masters Shanghai. And if Heretics doesn't respect FPX, I can see them losing though. And unfortunately for FPX, I just don't see them being Gen G, even though they did have a close series against them. The home crowd advantage would just be too much. And I think the overall experience that Sentinels have with like each of their members have been just playing Valorant so far longer than Heretics and Gen G at the tier 1 level without taking too many breaks that it will just give them the edge. But again, I could be wrong. It's just going to be such a close game. It's also crazy to think that Heretics has been doing serious damage this year with all this roster swapping going on. I personally would imagine that having both Miniboo and Woot finally playing together would be an upgrade, right? And because of that, I think they will end up playing better than they did in Masters Shanghai. So I have them over Gen G. Yes, home court advantage is nice, but it's not the end-all be-all either. Heretics struggled in Madrid, and the Brazilian teams whose names aren't loud didn't do that amazingly well in lock-in either. I believe a lot of people's group C is going to be looking the same. It's Primi versus Aspas, and I'm pretty sure we all have heard that clip where Kaide kind of echoed Tenz's like feelings on Primi.
Tyson scrimmed against Primi, and Tyson goes, he is mechanically the best player that I've ever played against. Insane. He is the best angle holder ever. If you peek one by one, he will literally just shit on you. He says that he actually clears Aspas with like mechanics. And I was like I've literally never heard Tyson talk so high of like a player before. He says Primi is the GOAT. L glazing? That's not me, bro.
But at the end of the day, Valorant is a team-based game. And even if, let's say, Aspas doesn't show up, because sometimes that happens, right? You can expect a player to be top fragging every single game. That just doesn't happen. But even if Aspas is having a bad game, I just think Leviathan is just a deeper team than Talon. And because of that, I still have them winning for this game. I just can't root against Safe. The man has had a great story so far, from almost quitting the scene altogether to being one of the best duelists in EMEA and getting that sweet, sweet revenge on Team Liquid. I mean, we gotta go with Vitality, even though I've been liking some of the things that Trace has been doing in the Chinese scene. It's just unfortunate that they're going against Team Vitality here. Also, this will be their first international event, so that might be going against them. However, we've seen other teams this year who done pretty well for their first international event, and there is a history of Chinese teams doing the funniest thing ever at their first champs event. I just don't think it's going to be happening here, but versus Talon, I think it might be closer than what people think. Let's give some love to China, actually, right? It can't be EDG being the only one that gets a win, right? Here we have the Sea Serpents versus a B. I'm gonna go with Team Vitality, mainly because I think they're low-key a deep team. Lots of people want to sing the praises of Safe, and rightly so, but you can't sleep on Trex either. This man has been providing lots of value for this team, and I also kind of get it. Safe is well-spoken, has a better storyline, and in front of the camera a lot more too. But all I'm gonna say is if you neglect Trex too much, your pick'ems might pay the price in the process. And at the end, I have Leviathan beating Trace. So Group D is going to be like, I think, the second hardest group to call. You could call it the group of dark horses low-key, because it's filled with like a lot of teams that have a legitimate case to winning the whole thing, especially if they can stay consistent. It's just that sometimes when they lose pretty bad. For EDG, they basically changed the brains of their team. Hadong has been moved into a coaching position, with Mogul being listed as the team's head coach. Simon has been picked up as a player, and out of all the teams so far, I feel like EDG has been embracing Neon possibly the most out of all teams, which is a good and bad thing, because on some maps, yes, we can see Neon being legit, but Raze is just so much better on a lot of other maps. But only time will tell to see if this Neon gamble will pay off. And I think they only look good because low-key, Kong can make any agent look good. And I think I just low-key talked myself into EDG winning this matchup. Here we have G2 versus PaperX. If you know, then you know. I can't see PaperX doing anything at this tournament, to be honest. This is such a hard group. Yeah, it'd be a miracle for them to win a single game. And also, I've learned my lesson. You just can't sleep on Turkish talent, to be honest. And here we have G2. Honestly, G2 reminds me a lot of like old Fnatic, or even like maybe current Fnatic, where in a way that they don't really need their duelists to be popping off. You know, they just play solid team Valorant, similar to how Fnatic played solid team Valorant last year. You know, because at the end of the day, people weren't saying Durka was the best player in the world. It was an argument between Alpha and Leo during the 2023 season, right? And I think it's the same for G2, where they don't need their duelists to be like popping off for them to win. If you really want to judge Icy, you really got to use your eye test and not solely go off of stats, even though stats do help. Like if your duelist is like 0-5 in first bloods and first deaths, then that's a problem. But Icy's doing what the team needs to be done. You have the likes of Jonah P and Valen really like carrying this team, and even Leaf from time to time as well. So I believe in G2. Moving on. So that's my pick'ems. Y'all let me know how I did. Am I closer to the 100% title, or is it more realistic for me to get the 0% title with these pick'ems? Y'all tell me down below. But till then, y'all stay safe, and I'll be yapping in the next one.